guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, Ireland's only answer to Harry Kane. We are back again doing match reactions, and today we are just going on for about half an hour at most and talk just a bit about the reaction from today's 1-1 draw with Leyton Orient. A couple of things that maybe we can take from it, a couple of things that maybe we can keep our eye on. But look, Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
No, I'm keeping quite well, David. Had a good night out with the missus last night, as well. It's a bit of a stormy lightning day. I'm always kind of like a little kid with lightning. I kind of just put my face to the window and just watch it for the rest of the night.
No, absolutely love it. I'm glad you had a day off last night. Now I went out and enjoyed yourself, blew off a bit of steam before the season starts. But look, everybody, make sure you do smash a like on the stream. Make sure you smash a subscribe if you're new. Make sure you do grab your channel memberships for the season coming up. Plenty of fan shows, the day after every game for you guys to come on and share your thoughts, whether they be good or bad. Look, let's welcome a few people into the stream as well. We have Robin. He says, good friendly. Yeah, it was all right. It was a bit boring, in my opinion, my man. Caleb Newsom, great to see our youngsters play. No, I have to say it really was. Emily Dunn, hashtag Harris Army. Big up, Emily Dunn, the disabled team. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, disabled team. I hope you're keeping well. We have Spurs Sick in the building. Big up Spurs Sick. Says big up, hashtag Harris Army. People making excuses for Dyer and Winks on Twitter. Got me raging, lol. Yeah, look, I'm sure we'll get into that. Hoiberg, the General. Hoiberg got married today. I didn't know that, nah. Fair play. Good info there. Dtrex Kane says, guys, I just say Dane Mbappe and John Aldinho were 10 out of 10. Even Pekotsky, Devine, Cisse, Carr, Vickers and White. I was really surprised, but Dyer, Winks, Ali and Bergwijn suck as League Two can't even dominate. Yeah, look, we'll get into it. Who else do we have in the building here? We also have Ellie in the building. Big up Ellie, says, come on, the Harris Army. Let's get to it. Big up Ellie. We have Amen Amaja. Big yourself up. Hope you're keeping well. Chris Agambar. Evening, everyone. I hope you're keeping well. THFC Cursed. Hello, how are you keeping?
Big up, Cursed.
I hope you're having a good time. ATX7 Gaming. What's up, David and Jack? Come on, you Spurs. Big up, ATX7 Gaming. Good to see you back, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Any idea why Dennis Sirkin and no, I don't have any reason why they're not in the squad, my man. David, hi lads. Glad Spurs are back. Yeah, exactly, man. I'm absolutely delighted Spurs are back. I couldn't be any more happier, to be honest. Very, very depressing over the summer without them. I just wanted them to come back, and they're back. I'm absolutely over the moon. I'm not going to lie. Aglaya says Leyton Orient are a great, thoughtful club doing that for Justin Edinburgh. They are. Big up, Aaron Dove. I hope you're keeping well, my man. He says, I'm boiling furious, our senior, lazy, fat lazy, doing nothing money, chunking. Yeah, look, that's a strong opinion, Aaron. Very strong opinion. MSFR, Tottenham is in the building. Kevin Williams, I hope you're keeping well. Good to see you back. I hope all is good with you. Clegg says, big up, just wondering what your thoughts on United transfer window so far and whether you were disappointed with how Spurs are going. Yeah, just quickly, man. Yeah, look, United getting Sancho in, potentially Varane, good window for them, bad window for us. No one come in so far. Lionel Messi, hope things are well. Stefan Blois. Seriously, these players have had enough chances. The fact that Dyer was captain today was a bit alarming. Yeah, Dermot Miles. Hi, guys. Big up, Dermot. Hope things are well.
Big up, Dermot.
Sheehan, Weir Kabadi says top half finish would be a miracle. Seems like that. Victor HM says, come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up. Jack, look, what do you think? Just quickly, if you want to help support the channel, feel free to grab a channel membership or throw in a super chat. Like I said, we're not going to be on too long here today. But Jack, my man, what do you think of today's game?
Yeah, David, it was kind of like you. It was a bit of a kind of a not too exciting game considering we were also playing, a recently relegated League One side, now currently a League Two side. I kind of thought that we might have gone up, maybe 2-0, 3-0 pretty early, maybe cruise the game out from there. We couldn't do that even with the four up top that were beside Scarlett were senior players. A bit disappointing in that regard. But then again, David, I was very entertained by the fact that we had a ton of young players on the pitch who I haven't really seen plenty of. And it was just entertaining just to see what they looked like. And also, maybe people that Nuno might have trust in. It was really interesting.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. Look, the starting lineup for me, I genuinely do believe that it was just more so a shop window sort of lineup with some of the senior players that played. I do think some of the younger players that played in the first half with them senior players, I think maybe that they could be candidates looking forward. That Nuno maybe you could see in the Conference League, League Cup, FA Cup games like that. Overall, look, to be honest with you, Jack, as excited as I was to have Spurs back, I was a bit disappointed. I was expecting more, especially from a few players out there. But look, it is what it is. It's a hard one to judge because you can't really take too much from the very, very first game back. People are just kind of going through the motions. It's just kind of build up fitness. Even the next one against Colchester, I wouldn't really pay too much attention to. It's the one against MK Dons, Chelsea, and the Scum, Arsenal. They're the ones that I'd be looking more into, that I think you'll get more out of. Today, I think it was maybe putting a few people in the low market and a few people in the transfer market. That's just my opinion. Everyone that's tuning in, get in and let us know what your opinion is on today's game. Kieran, or Jack, sorry. I suppose I do be speaking to so many people. Sorry, Jack. On the starting lineup, do you think with the youngsters that started in the first half today, do you think maybe they are youngsters that Nuno thinks he can probably work with?
Yeah, David, and the reason why I do think they are youngsters that he has faith in and youngsters he wants to work with is simply because he, in a way, kind of hinted at it in his post press conference or it's just this little post-match interview for Spurs. He did say that these are players in the starting lineup that, I definitely see us maybe, depending on, he didn't say depending on, but he just said, players that could give us something in this upcoming season, players that can provide us something in this upcoming season. So I think any of the young players that you saw starting today, the likes of Niall John, the likes of Scarlett, the likes of even to the likes of Cisse maybe or Paskotsky, these could be players that he might actually see as maybe putting in a shift for us in the Europa Conference League or the FA Cup. And maybe my last thing as well on that, David, on that really good question, I will say, we even touched on it, in our, get to know Nuno, that Nuno very much depends and likens his youth. He really likes to use them. He really depends on them. He kind of likes their naivete. He likes their effort, similar to Pochettino. He likes the advantages and the qualities of the youth. So we could see these guys playing. We could see these guys playing in future games for sure.
No, of course, definitely we can, 100%. I just want to touch a little bit on some of the senior players as well now in a minute. Mm-hmm. But Kev Williams with the super chat. Big up, Kev. I hope you're keeping well. Good to see you back. He says, good to be back, David. Hope you're well, buddy. Come on, you Spurs. Look, I'm all good, man. I'm renewed. I'm pumped going into the new season. Look, today's game, I genuinely don't believe you probably can't read too much into it. There are a few things I'll be keeping an eye on. But yeah, big up, Kev. It's good to see you back, and it's good to be back, my man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Everyone else, feel free to follow suit and, help support the channel. But, Jacko, for me with the senior players today, I'll be honest, you have some of them there that, the likes of Dele Alli, who was, putting pictures all over the summer, working hard, really kind of, didn't play well today. Stevie B, look, off the back of last season, he was playing in attack role, which he wanted. He looked very poor today. Harry Winks, average again. Didn't see anything, special. And the thing is with these senior players, I'm not berating them. Don't get me wrong. It's a new season. I'm going to try and wipe the slate clean and give them all a chance. But you would expect to see glimpses, Jack. You'd expect to see glimpses of what maybe level they're at coming into the season. And I didn't see any glimpses. They just went through the motions, didn't they?
No, David, you and I even had a conversation about it. We had a phone call about it where I said, look, even if they're going at half effort, like you're even saying, some of these senior players, even if they aren't totally up for it, their quality, David, should be able to still kind of carry them through. They should be able to still embarrass some of these players. Dele didn't really meg anybody, didn't really, embarrass that many players. Harry Winks, like I said, even had that pass to the assist, but that was the only reason he got that pass to the assist was because, whatever Leyton Orient defender, pressured him to actually, turn forward and actually turn upfield, David, which I found it hilarious because Winks was immediately looking to pass backwards in that situation, and he actually just forced him to look the other way. To be honest, David, yeah, with these senior players, they just did nothing to really impress me, and especially this is a League Two side, recently relegated League One side. This is not, a high quality team, and to be honest, they were going through the motions, and they're going through the motions were really underwhelming, and the youth players absolutely outshined them. I think Niall John took up better spaces than Dele Alli did. Dele Alli, the way he was dropping deep as well, David, it seemed like he was desperate even to try to get involved to the game, but he was still that poor that even when he was trying to drop deep, he still couldn't do anything. He still couldn't make an impact on the game. Eric Dyer's long passes, in behind the defense to Lucas and Bergwijn. Bergwijn and Lucas have plenty of pace, it seemed like, to be able to get to those, but it was just Dyer's passes always just were a little bit extra too long, a couple yards too long or a little too lofty or whatever it was. Absolutely no Toby Pingness at all.
Well, that's why we nicknamed him Moon Boots, Jack.
He was hitting them into the Thames today, and to be honest, he was probably hitting them all the way down south, David. And I don't know, David. I think you're exactly right with the senior players. They really did underwhelm, and I think that's scary. I do think that's scary, considering this is a League Two side, David.
And plus, it's kind of continuing in from like the Europa League form last season. Like, look, the warning signs were there in the group stage in the knockout games when these players were playing and barely getting the job done against part-timers, pizza factory workers or builders during the day, come footballer at night time and they could barely get the job done.
Or even
look,
David.
I do hope it's just literally first game, just getting the cobwebs out of the legs. But I just hope it's not a sign of team to come from these these players. Ellie says, "Loving Scarlett, what a great player we got here," and he gave and was our star player today. Yeah, look, he took his goal very well. We'll get onto that, Ellie, 100%.
Big up, Ellie.
Yeah, I was happy with Dane Scarlett today. I do have to say, Jack. Before we do go through the team and I'll kind of give our little bit on each performance. What do you make of the likes of Doherty, Ndombele, and Olamela, players like that? What do you make of all them sort of players missing out, Jack?
David, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to take a bit of your wisdom here on this question, simply because you were kind of saying that maybe some of the players here today, some of the senior players that we were seeing play today, David, might have been players that might be on the chopping block, might be players that might be, maybe rumored for the summer transfer window, players that might not be in Nuno's plans, because these were players that were kind of swarmed around the youth that Nuno does trust. To be honest, maybe you might think some of these players, the likes of Dele Alli, the likes of Winks, the likes of Dyer, might be players that actually Nuno really doesn't actually maybe rate very highly. And so therefore, maybe these are players that, he was just giving them their chance to either prove him wrong, David, or he was giving them their chance to maybe prove something to any club for a loan or for a transfer fee as well. I think I'm actually going to take a bit of your wisdom on that question and say that's why, the likes of Dele Alli, Winks, and Dyer were playing. And so maybe with Tanguy, Doherty, and other players not seen in the squad, I think that just shows that he's just only cares about maybe getting them in shape and then maybe keeping them for maybe the more important friendlies that are yet to come. He's just maybe only about getting them in shape. And to be honest, he probably saw some of the memes, David, regarding Willian and the stomach, and some of the jersey fitting. He might have maybe saw how Tanguy's jersey maybe fit recently. He said, listen, I got to give you another week or two, to get back into shape until that looks a bit more tight, a bit more seamless, and so maybe that might have been it as well. Yeah, no,
100%. I definitely say that. Look, me just quickly, my opinion on that would be that.
Good question, David.
Look, I think the likes of Doherty, Ndombele, Skip, Sessegnon, players like that are being held back. I do think today's team was maybe a bit of a shop window team. Plus, a look into kind of what youngsters Nuno would be looking to kind of bring through for the Conference League, the League Cup, FA Cup, stuff like that. I think the likes of Doherty, Ndombele, Skip, Sessegnon, Lamela, maybe not so much Lamela, but them sort of players, will come into it. Maybe MK and Dons, Arsenal, Chelsea. I think now it's just about working on fitness, protecting them from injury or anything like that, And I do think there's that element into it. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I wouldn't read too much into the numbers on the back as well. They were just given any old jerseys, so nothing to read into there. We'll take these two super chats, Jack, and then we'll get into it. We'll go through the team and talk a little bit about the team that played the first half. Ellie says, more Lira to get Jack to see that Spurs match, and so really do hope it's a match to remember, Jack lad. Big up, Ellie. Big up, Ellie. Absolute legend.
Ellie, you're an absolute saint. Ellie, you're an absolute saint. And believe me, Ellie, I can't wait once it all just to cruise together to get that plane ticket over to London. And I think I said, with the misses, we're all going to try to do it over, I think around March time, which I think could just be an epic time, for the Premier League, especially Ellie, where we're on top battling for the title. By that time, we're probably in the semis, for the Europa Conference League, Ellie. I'd be absolutely honored. And I can't wait to be picked up by you and Højbjerg.
Absolutely love it. Big up, Ellie. Wayne Bonner says, evening, David. Evening, Jack. Big up, Wayne. I hope you are keeping well, my man. Look, Wayne, I know you work hard. 3 o'clock, middle of the day. let me know. Did you get to sit down and watch the game, or were you out working, my man? Big yourself up. Mark Swift, big up Mark Swift. He's in the building. We also have Danke Shona, baby. Big yourself up. Kev Williams says several players don't respect the club anymore. Get rid. Dermot Moyle says Delhi Winks, Moon Boots don't care about the club. Do you know what? I don't think it's. Yeah, I think there is an element that they don't care, but I do think it's an element of that they just accepted their squad players and that they just come in, go through the motions, fill in, do the best they can, knowing that they're not really going to be shipped down anywhere. I do think there probably is that element to it, Dermot. Where they've just accepted their role and they've lost that hunger and that bite to try and get that jersey ahead of them, and maybe they just know that they don't have that quality to do it as well. It's a hard one to call. But look, Jack, big up everybody for the super chats. I really do appreciate it. I'm so generous. It really does help the channel. We do have big things coming. I'm going to have a much better setup. I'll have the computer, desk, chair, where we'll be, and we have other things in the lineup. The next 3-4 weeks, this content is really going to elevate itself to the next level. So it should be very, very good. So stick with us for the next 3-4 weeks and, judge us on the content. That's what I think you really enjoy it.
Further to that, David, David and I, we've been actually kind of, these past couple of days, David and I have been kind of, digging into, the art supplies, digging into the computer art supplies, designing stuff. If you guys haven't noticed, you guys got to check out that YouTube banner, the YouTube banner on David's homepage. You got to check out the art that we're coming up with, the stuff that's going to be improving this channel, especially on David's Twitter as well. With the help of Will Stewart, with some of the inspiration from what David, was thinking about what he wanted to look like. A lot of things are already improving so maybe that's just further evidence, David. That's the first evidence, the banners, the artwork is already coming in.
No, 100%. I absolutely love it, my man. I absolutely love it. Wayne Bonner says, watch the first half, impressed by some of the kids. 100%, my man. I fully agree. Everybody, there is something as well. The link for my Twitter is below. If you could get over to my Twitter, check out. A friend of mine, Paddy, he's actually here, Paddy Harnett. Big up Paddy. And basically, look, they're raising money for mental health down in Limerick. And look, whether people like to talk about it or not, everyone has been affected by it. And it'd be great if you could get over and help raise the money. And you will be entered into a raffle for a signed Spurs jersey as well. Big up, Paddy. Absolute legend, my man. Absolute legend. But look, Jack, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it, Dave. I'm going to pull up the starting 11 here that we saw today, David. I think we're just going to go player by player, David. We're just going to get our comments, give our analysis. And as well, guys, while we're talking about each of these players, I'd love for you guys to chat, give us some analysis on each of the players that we're talking about, that we're about to go through. To be honest, David, I kind of didn't really include the goalkeeper because really was not many shots on goal. They were practically just getting a tan. Maybe I would say Alfie Whiteman maybe had a better tan than Joe Hart today. So maybe I'll get Alfie Whiteman despite conceding the goal. David, it might give him a better performance just because he did seem to tan better throughout the game than Joe Hart did. Joe Hart maybe didn't apply the sunscreen quite so well today. But maybe we'll start, David, with the player that, the 6'6", massive, whatever this, I don't even know, David. He just seemed to be a giant, a statue, a statuesque. I don't even know, David. He was absolutely beautiful to watch at certain moments on the left back position. He doesn't seem to really be his natural position as well. He almost was a bit of a Spinazzola that would be 6'6" or 6'7", right-footed left back. He had moments of quality, I think, in the past. There wasn't too many times where I thought he gave somebody a hospital pass or anything, David. He seemed to be composed. He seemed to be very defensively solid and even had a bit of a scrap or two with some players and, seemed to really enjoy it as well, David. All the things that we like at the Irish Hotspur. What did you make of Seaside today?
Just 1 second, Bob Spur. We have to mention Bob Spur as well when it comes to graphics.
Oh, sorry about that, Bob. Yeah, no, he's been there the whole time.
Yeah, look, on Callum Cisse, look, he is actually a right back. So he was a right back playing left back today. Look, I like the size of him. He's a big lad. You know what I mean? He definitely has all the attributes and the size to make it in this game. Look, it was a solid performance for a right footer at left back. He didn't really venture as far forward as Pascozzi did. Mm-hmm. But look, he was solid. He was solid. And one thing I really loved was the little bit of an argument he got into, even though Dyer tried to step in and protect him, which may I add, fair play.
Yeah.
But, the young lad didn't want Dyer to do it. The young lad was ready to go, and you can't teach that sort of mentality, especially when you're coming into men's football. It's good to see that, he didn't back down. He was growling. He wanted to go,
right.
snapping and snarling. And for me, look, I think this kid, looking at him today in the first half, it's hard to judge, but he looks like he could have potential if he keeps developing his game. Let's not get too hyped up about him, but definitely potential if he keeps developing his game. And it goes to show why Nuno put faith in him playing out there in the first half today.
Yeah, absolutely. He at least seemed to be very mentally there, David. He seemed to be very strong physically as well. Maybe you're right. It's just Nuno has just maybe rewarded him. I think you even told me earlier today, some of these youth players have just probably really impressed Nuno, and he's just rewarding them for, putting in the work, and also maybe just being, standouts maybe in training so far. Maybe let's move on to just quickly, David, Moon Boots. To be honest, David, he seemed to be the one who was trying to take over the Toby role, you might say. He was trying to ping them in behind to the likes of Bergwijn and Lucas, who are making those kind of darting runs, those kind of darting inside runs, cutting inside. He tried to ping them every time. He always seemed to be just a few yards off, maybe once or twice. I think he did hit them, and then maybe the touch wasn't really there by, the striker. But to be honest, David, they didn't really have a lot, going towards them. They didn't have to really do too much defending wise. Maybe I might not really rate Dyer or Moon Boots too much after this, to be honest, because it just really felt like he was just knocking it into the River Thames the whole game and missing all those pings.
Yeah, look, he was definitely in there to kind of take over the Toby role. Look, captain today as well, a bit concerning, but someone out of the senior team, out of the players out there had to be captain. I probably would have given it to Lucas, but he gave it to Dyer. Probably because he speaks Portuguese and he can translate what he wants on the pitch, and Dyer can translate it to the rest. Yeah, who knows the thinking behind it. Look, one thing that concerned me is there was a ball in the box which he completely misread and completely got underneath it, and they had a chance from it. That was disappointing to see. Kind of still hasn't learned that, but look, the amount of throw-ins they put in on top of us, he was winning them headers, to be fair to him. But yeah, no, look, he didn't really do anything spectacular. Yeah, look, it's hard to rate him off this performance. Everyone knows my thought on Moon Boots. His passing was very, very poor today. Overhit a lot of passes as well. It's what we come to expect from him. Look, with players like Dyer, I want them working over the summer. It's clear to see they haven't done it. Like the likes of these players out here today, the senior players and the younger players. Like with the senior players, these are players that a lot of people have made excuses for. It was Jose. Jose was too mean. Jose this, Jose that, right? Even though some of them barely played under Pochettino. But the thing is, I expect to see glimpses of what they can bring to the team. Didn't happen. But more so, if I was in one of their positions, Jack, I would have made sure I came into this game hitting the ground running, not going through the motions. Right. Because after being out for so long, especially I know we're talking about Dyer, but especially in like Deli's case and stuff like that, after being out for so long and the last manager didn't trust you, and you can say it's the manager, this, that, and the other, you come back and prove everybody wrong, and you at least hit the ground running with glimpses and stuff, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Look, for Dyer, it was average at best.
Are you saying maybe, David, like just to kind of further your point, are you saying maybe at least they could have given like a strong 15, 20 minutes, where they kind of just go maybe at least, a bit harder, at least 90%, you might say, for at least the first 15, 20 minutes. Like I said, go 1-0, 2-0 up in the first 15, 20 minutes, do something to impress the coach, maybe just ride it out from there, take the Dele Marley approach after that. But I don't know, David. Is that maybe we're just trying to say they can at least give us 15 solid minutes of of just trying to create something, but they started a bit asleep, is maybe what you're saying.
Look, with the likes of Eric Dyer, for me, right? Like with the young lads around him, I expect him to come in, be composed on the ball, and grow the confidence of the younger lads in and around him. Did he do that with his passing? No, he gave away the ball, and especially with some of the attacking lads. You just want to see more from them. You wanted to see them at least create something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Some of them didn't create anything, and it was a boring game. And I expect more, but I'm also well aware that it's only the first game, so it is what it is. Look, we'll move on to
Carter Vickers here. Yeah, Carter Vickers, he had that one moment where there was that bit of a dangerous cross, a big looping cross, from the right-hand side, I believe, onto the left-hand side. He reached his foot out, he put his foot out, made a decent, bit of a block there for, I think it was for Whiteman or Joe Hart to pick it up. I kind of forget. But to be honest, maybe like Dyer, didn't have a lot going. Seemed like Carter Vickers was more of the sweeper in this situation for this team. He did a bit of the short socks, but yeah, I think he had a solid game. I would say maybe because we haven't seen too much of him and he's coming off a good performance or a good season at Bournemouth. I'd say Carter Vickers, he did all right, David.
Yeah, Carter Vickers, look, for me, I think he was put out there for the shop window today. But look,
yeah.
For me, I think he was all right today. I think he was steady. So yeah, not too much there. He's not a player that's going to be around here for much longer. I really don't think so. So yeah, he done well. He done well.
Maybe Bournemouth will actually just purchase him this time. Maybe that's might what it be. It's just some championship club actually, just instead of loaning him, they actually just get him and purchase him this season. But with the likes of Peshkatsky, David, the Estonian. I thought he actually really impressed. He seemed to be the one that was actually going a bit further forward than Cisse, but he also is very defensively intelligent, very defensively strong. He's not really he doesn't seem to be an attacking fullback, or maybe that's not really what he prefers, but I think he put in a decent shift for it. He also, at one point, David, you pointed out on Matt Hayes' stream that I think was a great stream today. You pointed out that he was giving that one guy just on one throw-in. He was giving this one player on Leyton Orient just no time. He seemed to be nudging him, pinching him, throwing elbows on him, not letting him touch the ball or make it easy for him to play a pass off. Something that we don't usually see from our fullbacks or from our players, even during the regular season in the Premier League. So to be honest with Peshkatsky, I think he put in a fantastic shift, David. I don't know about you. He's supposed to be highly rated.
Yeah, the young Estonian lad, centre-back playing right back today. Look, I thought he played well. Defensively, he was solid. Going forward, he was solid. He put pressure on completely down that right-hand side. Every time he had the chance, he was
decent. What I liked
is he pressed high today. He pressed high. It's not like what we seen last season where the fullbacks kind of tuck in and they don't get out there. He was out there. He was up their arses today, and I absolutely loved it. But as well, it was great to see him get on the ball, drive at players. Sometimes instead of taking the easy option and passing it inside, at one stage he got on the ball, bet two players, and ended up getting his free kick, which brought us up the field. You need your fullback to do that. And for me, look, I like the kid. I don't think he's done himself any harm to put himself in the hat for next game. And in and around the team for the Europa Conference League, I really do like the guy. I think a lot about him. I even said it on Matt Hayes' stream when I was watching it. Reminds me a bit about One Fight. He has that bit of the dog in him where, again, he has that mentality, that bite, that determination. That aggressiveness to be able to want to beat two players, something like Harry Winks can't do, but he has that aggressiveness. And for me, look, I think a good performance for him, and I do think we'll probably see a bit more of him.
Absolutely. And David, I think before we move on to maybe, the one that should not be named at the number 8 there, I think we can move on, a bit more positively and just say Niall John. Niall John, I thought actually put in a decent shift as well. He put himself in really good positions. He seemed to have a bit of, intelligence as well when it came to his positional maturity. For someone so young, David, he was putting himself in very dangerous positions. You even brought up in Matt Hayes' stream as well, David, that he's just one of those players that he's doing something he was taught since he was 5. He receives it on the half turn and he makes it dangerous for his opponent. He makes them have to make a decision. He makes them have to take them down, or he makes them have to, run at their back 4. And Niall John, I would say, of the 3 in the midfield there, I think he probably had the best performance out of all 3.
SH Spurs one. We will do a bit of a man of the match towards the end. Niall John, look, for me, I actually think he was a bright spark today in midfield. But I have to say, look, with him, every time he got on the ball, it was positive. He was looking to go forward. But that's like I keep explaining to people. The difference between him and Winks is he's able to take the ball on the half turn. He's able to take the contact. A couple of times, and the thing is, when you take the ball on the half turn, Jack, right, you give the defenders 2 choices. Either to take, or the midfielder to give you 2 choices once you beat him. Either take you down and run the risk of taking a card, which means you can't do it again. Or he lets you run at the back 4, which means you're creating opportunities. You can either shoot or you'll have players running off you and you can feed them in. So what he done brilliantly today was take the ball on the half turn. And also when you do take the ball on the half turn, it opens up the pitch. It gives you a picture. You can see players running. You can also see forward, which means you can play forward. And for me, look, I think he was very positive today. I really liked him. He got about there. He's a strong lad as well. And he's he was positive thinking, which I really liked. And I was very, very, very impressed with him today. You know, even at one stage, he opened his body, got the ball outside the box, opened his body, and had a shot. It was the last time you seen one of our midfielders do that, Jack.
Yeah, be brave enough to do that.
Yeah, it's just like usually it's all a little pass sideways or short the responsibility. No, he opened it up, cracked one. You know, and a good effort too, got it on target. And for me, I think there's definitely a couple of positives there. We do have to remember he did play, I think it was an Europa League game last season as well. And Josie had him on the bench for that as well. So, like, look, there is hope for this guy around the club. And, yeah, I was very impressed with him. He likes to get stuck in as well, which I like. He was getting stuck in. And for me, yeah, I think he had a good game and a good positive effect on the first half.
Yeah, David, I think you're completely right. And to be honest, David, would you maybe agree with me by saying he might have been the best of the midfield three there?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't understand how you can put a young lad in midfield there like today and he be the best player in there when you're playing with the likes of Winks and Dele Alli, who are supposed to be the senior pros, right? Why is this guy looking like the senior pro out there, and these guys aren't, considering some of the level and the magnitude of the games they played in? Yeah. Is it because they don't care? I don't know. Look, like there is that element, like I keep saying, it's hard to judge them first game of the season, first preseason game. It is a lot about fitness and stuff like that. But he was better than the two of them, and he shouldn't be. They should be coaching him through the game. They should be teaching him, not the other way around. And fair play to him. I thought he had a very good game, and another player that I do think has thrown his name in the ring, especially for the Conference League, League Cup, FA Cup, and hopefully he just keeps improving and gets better and better. Dermot Miles says, "You bought legends. Night guys feeling not great. Big up, Dermot Miles. Thank you so much. I hope you do get better, my man.
Hope you do get better, Dermot.
Really appreciate it. Everybody else, feel free to help keep supporting the channels and get your super chats in, and keep getting your comments in below on these individual player performances as well. Look, Jack, we can't avoid it. We're going to have to talk about Winks and Dele Alli. Which one do you want to do first?
David, I think we're just going to I think Winks, he was introduced by Wayne Bonner really excellently here, I think, David. Winks today, I even was being a bit nice to him, David, and I almost kind of regretted it by saying it to you over a phone call. It seemed like Nuno was kind of using Winks today in a bit of kind of like a Jorginho kind of role, someone who, is going to just sit back right in front of the front two or right in front of the back four. He just sits there and tries to develop play from there. Doesn't really venture too far forward. Perfectly suits Winks. He practically gets scared and looks the other way, when he has to cross the halfway line as it is. So then again, David, you really do think about it, and Winks he's playing the role that he always wanted to play, David, but he's playing against a League Two side, David. And did he really do it that well? I don't really think he did, because even like I said, for the pass to the assist that he had, like, he was forced to make that turn. He was forced to look upfield. He was so content to pass it backwards there. But the Leyton Orient defender clearly didn't read the scouting report, David, and was pressuring him to, turn upfield. And that was exactly what you don't do with Winks, because with Winks, he will find that pass easily to the back four and, just recycle the ball. And it's all that you could ever want. But he actually forced him to make the right decision, David. And so, honestly, poor by Leyton Orient defender there, pressuring.
Just on Harry Winks, actually, I wonder if that guy that was on Twitter last night telling me that Winks is going to prove me wrong and show me that he's so great and questioning me that I'd never played football to any level, so who do I think I was talking about him? I wonder where he is today, if he's in the comment section actually thinking about it. Because, look, you can't defend this guy anymore. Look, he was supposed to be the link-up man between defence and midfield today, right? That was clearly his role. He played deeper than the rest of them. Now, look, with Harry Winks, with the link-up man, okay, yeah, You need your link-up man to be able to take the ball on the half-turn, to be able to play forward. With Harry Winks, what he does is he does his 5-yard shuttle run, picks up the ball, passes it straight back to where it come from, or pass it out to the fullback, right? When you have that link-up player, especially against someone like Leyton Orient, you want them to turn around, get on the ball, turn on it, get their heads up, and play it forward, play it into the passes, play it into the space in midfield. Not dick about like he was, just little pass back. Oh yeah, he's so safe. He's way too safe. He's the sort of player, if you want to rest and then Numbelli or Lascelles on your you're 4-0 up, judging by what happened last time we brought him on against West Ham. But he's the sort of player you bring on, let him do that, let him waste time, with 10, 15, 20 minutes to go. Let him do that just to waste time and keep the ball. But it's Leyton Orient. We should be playing him off the park, a bit of pride.
Right.
Going back years ago when we had players and teams, we were beating the likes of these teams in pre-season handy, and these players were coming back overweight and everything. You know what I mean? And it really was used for pre-season back then. Nowadays, it's more so just to build up your fitness, but you're already more or less fit. And it's just disappointing. Look, he done nothing. He didn't get stuck in. Okay, he passed the ball to Lucas Moura for Dane Scarlett's goal, but that's because he was forced to. There was no other option. He was about to be sandwiched. He passed it off because he was scared. But oh, look, he's the guy that comes and picks up the ball and is supposed to link up and start the attacks. He's not good enough. He's coming with his back to play, which means either if you're going up against a team in the Premier League, you'd have a field day midfield against a player like that, because you just get straight up his arse as soon as the ball's passed to him and you take the ball off him, because he's not strong enough either. He doesn't like the contact. So you get straight up his arse and you just give him a nightmare, keep picking his pocket. For me, he really does have to start finding his feet at Tottenham. For me, look, everyone, I think he should be gone. I think he should have been gone a long time ago. You know, it's embarrassing that Niall John is coming in and he looks better than what Harry Winks is, and Harry Winks is around here 4 or 5 years. Look, I hope there's a massive improvement, but I already don't think there will be.
Yeah, David, I don't really think there is, because, again, we really do have to take this into consideration, David. It's one or the other, David. Either they're not trying against a League Two side, which just shows, again, it's just disrespect to us. It's disrespect to the club. It's disrespect to the young players around them that they're supposed to be setting a good example for, David. Or they are really this poor. They are really this poor where they actually are trying against these League Two players, David, and actually aren't coming up with anything of substance, aren't coming up with anything, that actually genius or anything crafty at all to really show themselves or, distinguish themselves. It's one of the two, David, and none of them are good. I don't think any of them are good when it comes to these senior players.
Look, with Harry Winks, he's the poster boy for any midfielder coming through the club. Academy player, right? He's the one that they look up to. That he's the one that, when you're a youngster, he's the one that's done it. He's the one that's got into the first team. He's been around. But is that the example you really want to be setting to your youngsters? Someone that's just willing to sit there and happy to play his bit part role? I don't think so. I think it's wrong. Everyone knows my thoughts. And could be a part why he's playing today. Put him in the shop window.
Absolutely, David. And super chat in here from Ellie Cockerados. Big up, Ellie. And she says, a message to Nuno: please dump Sire and sink Winks. That is exactly it. And I really do hope that Nuno is watching this right now and has gotten your message. Maybe he's gotten something in the post from, some of us as well, telling him, ahead of time, please don't play these players. Even in the last Can Nicky Answer Me, David, that was one of the questions, was like, which ones, which players would you tell Nuno right away? Like, listen, don't even give them a look. Don't even look them in the eye. Don't even bother them. Don't give them a breath, because they're not worth it. They're not worth it. And I do think that Stinks and Dyer are definitely those players. And to be honest, Ellie, maybe the one optimistic thing I would say to you, Ellie, is just that, look, maybe, just maybe, these are the players that, Nuno is just trying to put in the shop window, like David has been saying, and it's just trying to put out there. So maybe someone might put a bid on them. That's all I'm going to be hopeful for.
Yeah. Interesting. But look, we'll move on to the next player. That's enough airtime for the man himself. Absolutely.
Dele Marley, David. I mean, not much to say, maybe apart from, the new blue streak in his hair, I think, for the Fortnite viewers. His tan looked really good as well, David. The muscles looked good. He was just underwhelming, David, really underwhelming, because he was trying to do what maybe Niall John was doing in the beginning of the game. He's trying to find the dangerous spaces, trying to find the ball in the half turn, against the back four and charge at the back four. Couldn't do that. He started going really deep into the field, started practically, sitting next to the center backs, trying to ask for the ball so he can do something. Didn't seem to do much with that either, David. I mean, to be honest, David, it's actually right what I'm speaking to David clearly. David, what he said right there, PSG, please take Dele off her hands. Please take Dele off her hands.
Sorry, go back to it.
No, it's just speaking to the twin there. PSG, please buy Dele. Please take Dele off her hands. I think this game has just shown for me that, David, for me, it's the last time. It's the last time for Dele, because, like I said, it's either he's not trying, which is a concern because he should be trying to prove us something in this game, or he is trying and he's actually fallen that much off of his own pedestal or his own form that he can't even put an impact against this type of team. It's one or the other, David, and both are concerning, and I'll say it again.
Look, with Dele Alli, he got a new haircut. Everyone was fooled by it. Oh, he's back, he's working. Look, I've said this before. Anyone can rub baby oil on themselves and take pictures and make it look like they're sweating and they're working hard, right? And we've seen this time and time again last season. Players talking on Instagram and talking in the press and people falling for it. Right now, especially Dele Alli, I expect him to come in and hit the ground running and prove everybody wrong. everyone gave him stick. There's a lot of people that stick up for him. So for the fans that have been sticking up for him, and for the fans that have been giving him stick, come back and prove the fans that have been sticking up for him right, and the fans that have been giving him stick wrong. Come back and prove it. What did he do today? Absolutely nothing. At one stage there, he let the ball go through his legs to turn. No aware of where the Leyton Orient player was. Leyton Orient player came through steaming, took it off him. Dele Alli had to foul him. Now imagine if he didn't foul him. They were clean through down that side. Clean through down that side. And the thing is, when's the guy going to learn? Just do the basics. Just trap the ball and pass the ball. It's what Jose Mourinho wanted to do against Stoke. He was hauled off because he'd done a flick. Stoke went and scored from it. He needs to start learning to do the basics. Like, okay, these flicks, there's a time and place for them. But start doing some of the basics as well, which trap the ball and pass it. Look, with all the Instagram stuff and everything else, has he really come back? He's really shown anything in this friendly to be warranted to be backed and everything else. For me, I think it's a disgrace. He is frauding people. Putting up all these pictures, I'm back, I'm working hard, this, that, and the other. And then to come out and put a performance in like that in the first half against Leyton Orient, I think it's a disgrace. I expect better from Dele Alli. I really do, especially when he has a point to prove. Especially after, especially with the likes of Winks, Dyer, Dele Alli, all boys that used to be in the England squad. They're after watching England get to the Euros final. Right now, you think they'd have the bit between their teeth coming in with a World Cup season, maybe trying to get their names back in the frame. And that's the shit they put in. But they're supposed to be the experienced players out there.
Yeah, David. I think he might have even had the biggest one to prove. He might have actually had the biggest opportunity to prove himself, and he couldn't take it, David. I think you're really right. Let's maybe, brighten things up, David, a bit more. Lucas, I think he might have been the one, of the senior players that might maybe hold his head high the most, you would say, of the senior players. I thought Lucas, plenty of moments he still showed his quality where he's able to just take on anybody with ease, able to, skin any player with ease, able to cut inside even quite well. He was playing on the right-hand side, which is maybe a position sometimes he doesn't maybe do too well in. I think he actually, put in a bit of a shift there. It didn't seem like he was trying too hard then. And also as well, he was trying to make decent runs in behind the defense, but Lucas, that's all I'll say, David, maybe of consequences. I thought maybe he was the best of the senior players.
Yeah, I'll touch on Lucas now in a sec. Joseph Donnelly with a super chat. Big up Joseph Donnelly. Says, how are we judging him off one game? A team who he hasn't played much with. We have a fat pre-season. Just see after the actual pre-season. Look, what I will say is I do get what you're saying. Trust me, I get what you're saying. And I said that myself. Maybe I can be a bit harsh. Maybe it is one game. It is the first game pre-season. There's not a lot you can take from it as well in terms of tactics and stuff like that. But Joseph, it's been longer than one game with some of these players. It's been 2, 3, 4 years. And my point is, with some of them, with the England making the Euros final, with the World Cup right around the corner next year, the likes of Winks, Dele and Ali, where's the hunger? Where's the desire? They should be coming in, hitting this preseason running, especially Dele Alli, especially with all the stuff that he's been putting out, that he's working and everything else. Look, I wasn't expecting them to come out and play amazing, Joseph. I'm not that delusional. But I expected to see glimpses of where they're at, what the desire, the hunger to try and get into the team and stuff like that. And I just didn't see it. I suppose I was let down in that aspect, Joseph. Yeah. Look, probably a bit harsh for me. Yeah, I get it. But look, I just expected more, especially after what he was saying over the course of pre-season and the pictures he was putting up, Joseph. But big up for the super chat, my man. Really do appreciate it. Great. Look, great question. Fair play.
Yeah, I think a good question there. Good contention there from Joseph. Yeah, big up yourself, Joseph. Lucas,
yeah, Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura done the Lucas Moura, didn't he? Tries to pick up the ball, make things happen. Ball came to him to have that eye to play Scarlett straight through. First time pass, brilliant. And it got us a goal today. Playing in a slightly different position today, more central. In a way, a lot of times he was picking up the ball, was central, Jack. Mm-hmm. And yeah, look, Lucas Moura, he done okay. At least he showed glimpses. That's what I was talking about. He showed glimpses.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he showed glimpses. I don't think he played so spectacularly. He did get the assist. But yeah, he skinned a couple players, seemed to be up for it a little bit, but wasn't seeming to be trying very hard. But I think Lucas doesn't have as much to prove as the likes of Dele, Winks, or Dyer, David. So, Lucas, I'm going to give a pass.
I do want to address this. I have seen this. This is the second time I've seen this floated about. It says apparently Winks got spat on when the players arrived. I just want to say that is absolutely disgusting behaviour. Whoever done that should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. That is disgusting. Look, they're human beings at the end. I get it. They're footballers. We criticise them on the football ability and stuff like that, but they're human beings at the end of the day. And no matter what my thoughts on the player personally, my personal thoughts on the player, I don't condone that, and that is sickening.
Can't do that to any human being. Yeah, no, that's the last human being on earth that, you can't do that to any human being. And if you were to, that's the last human being on earth who should do that too. And so, yeah, it's just their levels, David, their levels. And we try to criticize them on footballers. We try to give them plenty of chances as well, David. And it's just behavior we absolutely do not tolerate or condone at all.
I'll just take these two super chats. No, but Jack, 100%, we don't tolerate it. It's absolutely disgusting. Spot on, man. Gaguma says, hi, David and Jack, enjoying the analysis and commentary. I thought Lucas looked great today. Very energetic and hungry. Yeah, look, he showed glimpses, and that's what we're talking about, showing us where he's at, that, he played that pass through and stuff like that. He showed glimpses, and that's what we're talking about what we're wanting, my man. Great super chat, Gaguma. I'm really glad you're enjoying the show. And look, there's going to be a lot more of this to come, but in a lot better fashion as well. So be excited, Gaguma. Ellie says, my patience has run out on all these players who are just going through the motions and just letting us hardcore fans down. The young lads were better. Yeah, and I guess that's my point. Where the young lads looking like the experienced players.
Right.
Look, and fair play, Ellie. Great comment, and thank you so much. I really do appreciate the super chat. Jack, do you want to have a quick say on this?
Yeah, it's always good to talk to Ellie here. Yeah, Ellie, I think you're exactly right. I think I think I came out with the same conclusion, Ellie, and that just thinks we're thinking on the same line here. I think the young lads, like David was saying, actually showed the bravery, actually showed a bit more composure even during the game. They seem to be the more experienced players. They seem to be the players that were even trying to prove something as well to the manager, to another club, whatever it may have been. The likes of Deli, Winks, Bergwijn, Dyer, a lot of these guys, they did not seem like they were trying to prove anything, and that's very concerning to me. And so the young lads absolutely outshine them.
No, they did. And we have another super chat here. Big up, David. Big up, David. I hope you're keeping well, my man. By the way, great name. Blessed with one of the greatest names on the planet. Big up. He says, I criticised Deli more because I loved him so much. He gave me some of the best memories. Met him, nice lad, but sadly, focus and hunger not there anymore. Yeah, look, I agree with you. I love Deli. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Deli. But, over the course of two and a bit years where he's just been poor, I fell out of love with the guy as a player, He needs to start showing us more. And I agree with you. He has lost his focus and hunger. Can he get it back? Who knows? Can he get back to the levels he once was? I hope he does. Like you said, he gave us great memories. Goal against Palace, goals against Chelsea. Can we get that Deli back? That's the question. I'm willing to give him until January or at least this last season, and that's it. Like the Winks, Dyer, I'm not even going to give him the season. I think they should be sold. But Deli, look, at most, if someone came in with an offer, I probably would take it. But at most, I'm going to give him one more season, and then I'm completely done.
Right. Completely agree. Big
up, David, for the super chat. Really, really do appreciate it. Jack, let's get to the next player.
Absolutely. Bergwijn, David, this is hard, David. I really do. Bergwijn, he was on my mind as well because Marcelo had that fantastic debate on Will Stewart's channel, which I do really think was a really great debate as well. So in case you want to see any more of Marcelo anywhere, please go check that out on Will Stewart's channel. But to be honest, David, it was just ringing through me the whole time with the way Bergwijn was playing. He did not seem like he was trying to prove anything. This has been a constant theme with this analysis of some of these players, the senior players. They did not want to prove anything. They just seemed to just be there just to show up, it seems like, David. And as well with Bergwijn, he seemed to be he lost a bit of pace. I made a guess at, because I don't think these League Two players, David, are any faster than the Premier League, if I might add. And the way that he was trying to run in behind to get some of these ping passes from Eric Dyer, I do understand, half of them went out the stadium, some of these passes, but plenty of them were actually capable. I think he could have gotten to, and he seemed to really struggle to do it. Seemed also to be a bit out of breath, even at certain points as well. His hands on his hips were in plenty of moments when it did seem like it was only like 5 or 10 minutes into the game. David, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think he also dramatically underwhelmed me.
Yeah,
he didn't want to take on any players. He didn't take any players. He didn't do any step overs. Didn't try to skin any players. Didn't try to embarrass any players. Didn't go for any shots outside the box. It was just all underwhelming.
No, it was very underwhelming. And I just want to apologize to Kaguma. Sorry, I shouldn't have assumed. I will remember that for next time. I do apologise. So it's a
Big up,
lady.
Gogama.
It's a
Big up,
lady, not
Gogama.
a
Thank
man.
you.
My bad. Hi lads, how you doing? Have a good weekend. I hope you're having a good weekend. Yeah, we always do. We're always bright and smiley here at the Irish Hotspur. Look, in terms of Bergwijn, look, another player that I thought might have had a bit of the grit between his teeth, might have come out and shown us something a bit different, especially after the way last season went for the guy. Didn't do it. Look, for me at times, I think he did look a bit out of shape, to be honest with you, not fit. But look, this is what pre-season's for. But again, I expected to see glimpses, and I didn't get anything. Yeah. I didn't get anything from the guy. A couple of times he tried to get on the ball and beat the fullback. He just couldn't do it. They're League Two level.
Yeah,
he needs to be better. And again, look, he's a player. He does have so much potential, but is he going to fulfill it? I don't know.
Yeah,
and with Bergwijn, it's a tricky one. He's a big lad, so it's not like he needs to build up muscle or anything like that to be able to hold off players when trying to skin them. We know he is fast, so I don't know what the problem is. I don't know. Confidence probably could be, but at the end of the day, I expect better. He's 23, 24. He's a man, and look, I just expect better. Look. Again, I'm another player. I'm going to give him the season, see what he produces. But there's a position out on the wing up for grabs, and look, hopefully, maybe he can start producing. But it's a tough one. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I think what's well said, David.
Not great today. Not great today by any stretch of the imagination. No glimpses of magic or anything like that, which I expect to see. Maybe him take on the fullback once or twice and stuff like that. Didn't do it. So look, we'll wait and see what Bergwijn. But another one, I just don't think he has it up here to play at the top level. I'll get potential as well. Just quickly, he was one of the best players in Holland. I get it, but so was Vincent Janssen when we signed him. Did he fulfil his potential in the Premier League? Certainly did not. It could be a case that Bergwijn could go down the same route. I hope not, but that's the risk you take signing some of these Dutch players. You sign them with great potential, but sometimes they just can't make it at the Premier League level.
Luke de Jong, David.
It's a different animal altogether.
Luke de Jong, David, the former Newcastle striker, and kind of Premier League lower table kind of striker. He scored, I think, at one point, whatever it was, like 35 goals, some ridiculous number, and the Eredivisie, and every time he's gone to the Premier League has come up short, significantly. So, with the Eredivisie, I will say the Dutch league, it is a strong league in certain cases and certain qualities. It can be a strong league, but also, like I will say, defensively, it is not a strong league. So plenty of players that are attacking players do definitely benefit from that kind of league. And I will say that with confidence. And Bergwijn, I think he does have much to prove. And like David said, just have to maybe give him this season, see if he can turn it around. But that winger position in the right wing spot is very much up for grabs.
Yeah, 100%. And look, we'll move on to the next guy. The guy, but before we actually get into him, Jack, I'll let you take it on him first. But I do want to ask you a quick question. The fact that he started today in the first half, and like I said, I think the players that started today, we do believe will be the players he's looking at for Conference League and stuff like that, the youngsters. Does that mean Scarlett is ahead of the pecking order to Troy Parrott?
Oh, absolutely, David. Absolutely. I think even the game today might even show to David. I mean, Troy Parrott did have a pretty bad giveaway that, and some might say, in a way kind of contributed to the goal that we did concede. I did think that, I did say to you, David, I did think that Walcott for the center back that came in there, I thought he just didn't defend at all. He just, let him cut inside in the box and just have a shot on goal, and he scored it. But it was a bad giveaway from Parrott. Scarlett, he seemed to give a lot of confidence to. Like he was playing with confidence as well, even before the goal. I think, David, I saw him doing plenty of flick-ons. He was trying to get in behind. He seemed really eager to try to score from the beginning. He seemed very hungry as well. Seemed like a very hungry striker. The finish on the finish that he had today was full of composure, full of class. David, to be honest, he even looks a little bigger, if I might add. He looks a little stronger. He looks a little taller. Yeah. To be honest, David, I might be way too optimistic here, but I do think he might be seeing Scarlett as just one of those players that, will just come off the bench in plenty of games when it's just like, look, I just need something to happen. I need a young player just to have a spark in this game, or someone that he might trust with like the Europa Conference League or Carabao Cup or whatnot.
Yeah. Look, well, and talking about Dane Scarlett, kind of lead towards the end of the show here. Because there's not much to take from the second half, but I'll kind of lead into the second half discussion here. With Dane Scarlett, look, for me, it's his runs, Jack. They're very, very clever runs, right? So it does look like he's beefed up. I'll get into that in a minute. But it's his runs. That he makes the runs that Troy Parrott doesn't. Troy Parrott comes looking for the ball. Dane Scarlett goes in behind. And that run he made today for Lucas Moura, right? In the position he did between the fullback and centre back.
Clever.
Absolutely great run. But because it was such a good run, it almost forces Lucas Moura's hand to play that ball, which he did, right? And then to compose himself, because look, we know he had a couple of chances in Europa League. He had a chance earlier on in the game. If his control was better, he could have took it down. He would have been clean in and had a shot as well. And in the Europa League last season, he kind of fluffed at a couple of chances in front of goal that he did have. But he kept his composure today, Jack.
Yeah. And
coolly, calmly slotted it between the keeper's legs into the far corner. It was a great finish. It was a throwback finish, and it's just a throwback to kind of like the old sort of striker. Very intelligent, very clever run, composure, and just finishes the ball cool and calmly. That's why I nicknamed him Dane Mbappe. I nicknamed him Dane Mbappe last season because just looking at his runs and all, I was like, this is a young guy that gets it, right? So he was coming into the game in Europa League games. He didn't have the strength to be able to get up against players, right? So it was his runs that made him be able to get in behind. Right. It was the runs that meant he was relying on his pace and his football IQ rather than his strength because he knew he didn't have it. He adapted, right? Now, over the summer, it looks like he's beefed up. Brilliant. Now, this takes me into talking a bit about Troy Parrott and Jack Clark, right? So Dane Scarlett has took it upon himself, right? He's like, right, I need to bulk up. I need to start lifting weights and stuff like that if I want to make it. And I wouldn't say anyone has told him to do it. I think he's sat there. He's realised. He's like, right, I need to bulk up. I know that myself. There will come a time where my strength is going to come into it and I'm going to need it. So I need to bulk up, right? So he's already known. He's already thinking steps ahead, preparing for the future, which is brilliant what you want to see. Troy Parrott, Jack Clark, been around a couple of years, haven't bulked up. When are they going to learn? You look at Jack Clark. He tries to skim players. They take the ball off him. It's too easy because he doesn't have the strength.
He's a twig.
Right? Troy Parrott, the way he plays, teams just come in and take the ball off him. You just put the pressure on him. Even if there's a pass played into him, just come in, put a bit of pressure on the back of him. You're going to take the ball off him. It's going to bounce off him because he doesn't have the strength to be able to hold you off. Same as Jack Clark. So, and like, this is the thing in football. A lot of footballers have been waiting to be told what to do with things. But the players at the very top are all players like Ronaldo off the field recovery, everything else like that. The players that take upon themselves and they're like, hang on, this is my career. It's a short career. I need to continuously keep planning for the next step to keep getting better. So for me, that I do think Scarlett will make it on that alone, doing that. The likes of Parrott and Clark, some say, I've seen some comments today, people saying maybe, look, sell them on, they're not going to make it at Tottenham. I would probably agree with that. And that's purely because they don't want to do that extra work off the field that Dane Scarlett is already doing. And for me, that justifies why Dane Scarlett started today. And he isn't pecking in the pecking order of Troy Parrott. The simple thing with Clark and Parrott, they need to realise, like, when they're not beating a player, they need to sit back after a game and analyse, why am I not beating him? Or how did he take the ball off me there? Okay, I'm too weak. Okay, how do I get stronger? Rather than just going, oh, look, dust off, bad performance, we go again. You know what I mean? And it leads me into the second half. Look, Parrott also gave away the pass for the goal. Look, young lads out there, I'm not even going to get on their case. It was a group of young lads out there in the second half, and it was what it was. Not much to take away from it, Jack.
Yeah, maybe I'm a bit harsh on Walcott there. Maybe even with Parrott in that situation, David, despite, the criticism we've given him, maybe even that big mistake that he made, we could be a bit harsh on him by just criticizing him too much over it. It is just one, mistake in a preseason. You're allowed maybe to have an astray pass. I think it was a combination of errors amongst the whole youth team there. So yeah, we shouldn't ride them maybe too hard for the goal that they conceded. I think you're right.
Yeah, no, look, not much you can take away from it. Two last questions for you, Jack, and then we will end off. We have been on a lot longer than what I thought. We're going to have to get better at making just these quick, snappy, a nice half an hour. But look, it was nice to see Tottenham press again, wasn't it, higher up the field?
Yeah, David, it was also nice. It was just nice to see, I think, David, just like I was saying in the beginning of the game, just players that seemed to be really up for it. And that turned out to be the young players that, were trying to actually win the ball back quickly, players that were actually trying to dominate the game, players that were trying to, give the initiative to the other team. And it was just a bit disappointing that maybe certain players, David, were just on different levels, maybe different aspirations in that game. And so maybe they just weren't exactly in sync. But I think you're exactly right, David. It was nice to see a bit of pressing, a bit of domination as well, just on the ball. Of course, this is against a League Two side, but we really did seem to be very comfortable in possession and building out from the back there. We were very composed. We were almost a bit, pragmatic in the sense of it as well with the way we were doing it. But I think, with some of the balls that we were trying to attempt, some of the passes we were trying to attempt, clearly we were trying to get in behind the defense. And we were just kind of missing on it, every now and again. But David, you're exactly right. Nice to see some pressing football. Nice to see some players that really were trying to go for it.
That's one thing we can definitely take, that we will press. It was good to see us pressing. Jack, do you think there's much we can take from the formation today?
No, I don't think there is, David, because even some of the young players, they seem to be, played a bit out of position. The likes of Cisse, the likes of Pascatski or Pascatzi as well. They seem to be playing a bit out of position. Even Harry Winks, he's playing a Jorginho role. I mean, I know Nuno's a wise man, and he would never do that with Harry Winks and, in that sort of way. The likes of Dele Marley getting all the attention he was and, all the freedom he was. I doubt Nuno would ever do that. I think it was just a lineup, David, in a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and just try to win the game, and just try to impress me is probably what he said.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think you'll see more of what Nuno intends to do. Last game against MK Dons, Chelsea, Arsenal, aka two scums. And that's when I do think you'll be able to take more from it and see more from what we're trying to do. Look, guys, it is the end of the show. Big up, Kaguma. Thank you so much for the super stick. I really do appreciate it. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. Everyone else, if you have enjoyed it, we do a quick outro. Feel free to send in a super chat or two, show your appreciation. Make sure everybody has smashed a like on the stream, please. It really is important. Make sure you do smash a subscribe on the channel if you're new. Again, we're touching on the mental health thing. No one out there needs to struggle. No one out there needs to feel lonely. All my social media, Jack's social media is below. Feel free to get in contact with us. Make sure you do get in contact with us. Always there for you, no matter what. Don't worry about that. I'll always message you and stuff like that. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for tuning in today. Massive thank you to everybody who has helped support the channel. Massive thank you to everybody in the comment section putting in your comments and everything else. It's great to see everybody back. Spurs are back, baby. Look, we're all on to the next game against Colchester. Let's see what happens. Hopefully a bit of an improvement. 1-1 today. Not too much you can take from it, but there's just a couple of things you can keep an eye on. Jack, anything you want to say before we end off, man?
Keep your heads high, everybody. Keep your heads high, keep the smiles, wide, keep the grinning, don't read too much into it. Maybe despite David and I really, digging into the senior players. Remember, there was a lot that we could take from the young players today. There's lots of players that I do think played really well today. So please, please, please keep your heads high. I think honestly, it was a decent performance by the side. It just was, a bit unmatched. I did want to win, and I think we deserved to win. I think that goal was a bit of a fluke, to be honest, that we conceded. So everybody, just keep your heads high. Just keep your heads high, please.
No, 100%. And look, Tottenham are back. What more do we want? Hopefully we can get in. Hopefully next time I see you, might have a signing or two done by then. Might have a bit more positive news to talk about. But look, Tottenham are back. New season's upon us. Stay with us. We do have a lot of things coming up. I think you really are going to enjoy them once we drop them. In the next 3 or 4 weeks. But big up, everybody. Stay safe. And come on, you Spurs. In Nuno, we trust.
In Nuno, we trust. Come on, you Spurs.
And Enoch and Levy out.
Get him out. Get him out.